Howdy, I'm Grey Pilgrim. Well, this is a rant video. I was watching YouTube earlier, catching up on a few of my favorite channels. When I was watching a fellow named AR American. I really like his style. I really like him. But he was talking about a Democrat commercial in which basically a wife is encouraged to vote for Harris and lie to her husband about it. I realize that Hollywood performers and patently lying politicians have one thing in common, and that's that they probably habitually lie to their spouses. The Hollywood actors and singers, their lifestyle, well, I mean, every singer seems to like his groupies, and every actor seems to have been married at least 7 times with about 14 mistresses in between. You know, Charlie Sheen, yeah, I'm not going to ask him for moral advice, or Kamala Harris. I'm not about to vote for a cackling cow. No. Thing is, I was listening to Joe Rogan last night about he did an interview with J.D. Vance, and they were talking about when Trump got shot the first time, and when Vance first heard about it, he said he went home and made sure all of his guns were loaded. That made me stop and think, well, I'm not about to load all my guns. Some of them, like this one and this shoots 30 Mauser and that shoots 30 Luger. I do have some ammo, but it's rather rare stuff and hard to come by, and I'm not going to waste it on something as unimportant as somebody who's storming the bastions, repelling invaders. Now these ones, I don't know if you can see them. Those ones, yeah. This one's in my pocket most of the time, and this one sits by my bedside. That's an AT-84, and that's a Ruger LC9. Both are in 9mm P, and both shoot rather well. And this bad boy here sits right next to my bed. The whole purpose behind a pistol, in my opinion, is to have something to keep them ducking while you reach for your rifle. Well, that's my rifle. Other people like the AR platform. It's okay. I happen to prefer the Mini 14 because it's okay squared, in my opinion. And I happen to have a folding stock on it, which was I bought it with a folding stock, and then when Clinton was elected, and he banned all assault rifles, I had a conventional Mini 14 stock I put on it. I bought one just so I could put on that, just to make sure that it was a sporting rifle. Well, the only sport I go for with that one is target shooting or repelling borders, and that's what this is for. I don't know if we're going to have a full-blown civil war in this country. I live way out in the country, and I prefer living in the country. I lived in cities many times in my life, and I never liked it. My youth, I lived on Air Force bases a lot. I'm an Air Force brat. And come summers, the parents would usually ship me off to my grandfather's ranch in Texas, where he would work my butt off and pay me a fair wage of $1 a day plus room and board. But I learned a lot from him. I learned how to weld. I learned how to mend a fence. Learned how to drive a tractor. Learned how to drive. Matter of fact, I got my very first ticket for driving a tractor. I was 14. I didn't even have a license yet. You can drive a tractor without a license. But I had to go from one field, open up a gate, cross a road along the side of a freeway, I don't know what you call that, a service road, and then go from it to another field, a 60-acre field that was over on the other side. And as I was crossing the road, I wasn't on, well, yes, I was on the road for the width of the road. This county mountie came up and gave me a ticket for failure to display a slow-moving vehicle sign on a public thoroughfare. I didn't have the sign. I took the ticket home. When I went home to Grandma, I had to finish up with the field I was dealing with, but I took it home and had some words. I had some rather moderate words about it. My grandmother was a little 4'11", high-tempered Texas farm girl. She had many a spirited and profane comment about it. Then she grabbed the ticket, she grabbed me, we drove into town, we went over to the courthouse, we went to the sheriff's office, and she sat down and she plopped that down and said, I know you guys have some problems with us. I didn't know this, but there was a feud going on between our family and a neighboring one. And these people had some political connections with the local sheriff. And but she basically read that sheriff the Riots Act and said, get rid of this ticket now. And he did. He did not want that woman pissed off at him. No way. Well, I learned a lot from those folks. I learned a lot. Yeah, we had a little farm, little ranch there. We no longer have it in the family because, well, the bottom land was right next to a creek, and the city of Dallas decided they wanted to dam that up and make another reservoir. So they just bought all the farmland in the bottom area there, and eminent domained it. So the ranch is gone. There was a small ranch house up on the hill, and an aunt of mine ended up inheriting it, and then her kids have it now. I forget their last name because she had all girls, so it's a different name now. No, her name was Albertson after she was married, but then I forget what her kids' names are. And I knew them as kids, cousins. Well, anyway, one of them lives there now, and they're doing well. But they have to work in town because, there's no ranch, there's no income. Granddad ran cattle on it. I got to the point where I hated cattle. Herefords. We had Herefords and Angus Cross. But when you're a 16-year-old boy and all you see is the backside of a cow and you're thinking about girls, it's just not the same. The high point of my week back then was going grocery shopping with my grandmother and watching all the pretty girls in the grocery store. That was the real high point of my week. That was the only thing a teenage boy is really interested in is girls and food. I liked food, and she really fed me a lot of good food. Yeah, good times, good days. But anyway, in today's world, if we're not taxed out of everything we own, I just paid my property tax, and I'm feeling that, then we're finding that everything we do is either illegal or immoral or taxed. I don't like that. I don't like that one damn bit. For the third time now, I'm going to vote for Trump. The first time I voted for him I wasn't really voting for Trump. I was voting against Hillary because I knew things about the Clintons that some people knew, but most people didn't know. I knew something about Bill that, oh no, that guy he was such a crook. Then I found out that Hillary was actually the boss of the family. Didn't realize that then. Heard about it later. All you had to do was keep Bill in with his interns and kept him busy with that, and then Hillary could just run the show, which she did back then. Anyway, and now we've got this Biden character who's such a doddering fool, and we all saw he was a doddering fool when the election was first stolen. Oh, did I say that one in 2020 when he won the election? This time, I hope we have enough votes not only to overturn any cheating, but to flip the House and the Senate, both. I hope there's a friggin' landslide. And I hope that landslide goes down ballot and really affects the whole race. I'm in a blue state. And it didn't used to be a blue state. When I was a kid, it was nowhere near a blue state. Of course, back then, we all went down to the precinct and voted. And when you did a secret ballot at a precinct, well, you could get a candidate that you voted for 9 times out of 10. Here, and the very first vote I ever made in this state was at a precinct. Took my son along and said, see, kid, this is how it's done in America. Then the next year, we were the first state to put in mail-in ballots. Ever since then, we haven't had any Republicans in office at all. The state house and the governorship have been held by crooked Democrats ever since. And we have, Tim Walz and his tampons. Well, our governor is named Kotek. Guess what we call her? She's to the left of Che Guevara. You know, I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. For one thing, obviously, I'm a firearms collector. I prefer older stuff, antiques and military surplus from previous wars. But I admire the technology as it has progressed, and like to play with those every now and then. You know, a friend might have an AR, or I once shot a FAL. When I lived in Albuquerque, there was a group called the Rapid Fire Club, and they met on, I think it was the second Wednesday of every month. And you go down to the city range. Yes, Albuquerque has a city range. And you paid them a $5 fee plus the cost of ammo. And anybody who brought along any gun, you could shoot it. And I've shot a Mac 11, it was a German thing. It was World War II. I don't remember if it was a 41 or a 38. I forget what it was, but it was a Hitler's typewriter, I think they called it, or was it zipper? Because it was a rifle caliber that just shot like that. Oh, it was quite formidable, and it cost me a lot of money in ammo. I've shot an M14. That was kind of fun. And an Uzi. I shot an Uzi once. That was a lot of fun. I really wanted one of those. That and an original Czech Scorpion were my two top of the list. Yeah. Never did get either one. C'est la vie. But this is a C96 Mauser, and this is an American import between the wars Luger, made about 1924, 25, somewhere around there. I've got the serial number listed in one of the books I've got. And this one, I think that one's a World War I commercial. They're all commercial. They never were issued by any government. Mauser kept in business between the wars by selling guns to China during the warlord period, and they loved their Mausers, C96s. They called them was it pocket cannons? I think was the term for it in Chinese, because they weren't allowed to import rifles from Europe, but they could import pistols, and this was designated a pistol. But you put that shoulder stock on it, and you've got a little carbine. It's a pistol caliber, but it's a carbine. Anyway, I'm digressing. I am saddened by how depraved the Democrat voting and what the politicians are saying. You know, let's see. Gosh, I must be a Hitlerite because I want to vote for Trump. No, I never did like the fellow with the funny mustache at all, or the precepts of National Socialism. It sucked. But Trump, he's doing a America First populist movement, and I agree with that. I mean, have you ever been to the Rust Belt? Have you ever seen all the factories that shut down and got shipped to China, and all the people are standing around out of work? And the middle America with, in the flyover states, with the fentanyls going every which way and half of the town is addicted. Hell, my local town, we've got problems with that. Up here, we had a problem with the city of Salem, like to ship all of their drug addicts out here to public housing. They didn't have real public housing. What they do is somebody would, grandma died and none of the kids wanted the house, so they sold it. And these big developers bought them out and then rented these out to, I think it's called Title 11 or something, which is the state thing for housing homeless people and drug addicts and the like. And so they just plopped them into houses up here, and it became quite an issue. We had to deal with the situation ourselves because there was nobody in power who would. And all of them moved a little further up the canyon, and then the people whose town they then invaded, they moved them along to the next town. And I don't know what happened after that, but I do know there's not many of them around here anymore. And, I know my neighbors. If anybody decided to be aggressive towards me, they'd have to make it through my neighbors. And that's going to be kind of hard because they're as armed to the teeth as I am. And most of them are hardworking people. They pay their taxes and they vote accordingly. Food prices are out of this world. I have to go shopping today, so I'll come back cussing with that experience behind me, and broke. And I don't know, it's just, this world has gone to the proverbial place in Hades in a handbasket. But I voted already because we have mail-in ballots, but I don't stick it in the mail. I go to the one of the county drop-off boxes and I put it in there. I hear that up in Portland, some people did that and they burned the boxes. Incidentally, used to be that early voting was always Democrats. Not in this state anymore. And the Democrats here are getting a little freaked out about it because it's a huge number of early votes have come in. And a lot of them are not Democrats. By the way, I am not a Republican. I'm an independent. I'm not a member of any party. I've never been a member of a party. But I'm also not stupid. And I have never been one to go, my country right or wrong. My country has a lot of faults. But I feel that this is the way we solve it, is by voting. The people who cheat remove the power of the populace to have a voice in the mandate. That's not good. Don't cheat. One man, one vote. That's the way it ought to work. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what background you have. As long as you're a legal citizen, go for it. I've worked with, partied with, enjoyed the company of many, many different ethnicities, religious, a lot of politics. When I lived in Salem, God, everybody around me was just blue as could be. So you had to deal with them, though. So you go out there and talk to your neighbor and say howdy. But then you looked at the political signs that they put out and think, oh Lordy, where's your brain? Well, I don't have any political signs because I don't like to identify. Not out here. Though I am completely surrounded by Trump signs everywhere I go. I don't see any Harris signs. None. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. Today is Friday, and next Tuesday is the election. Well, is the official day of the election, and that's the thing that gets me. The last time in 2020, they were counting votes up to 3 or 4 days later, votes that came in after November 5th. That's illegal, but they did it anyway. And I think that that's in front of the Supreme Court right now, and I'm pretty sure they're going to vote saying that's illegal. Yeah, you can vote early, but you can't vote later. If you don't have the gumption to get your vote in on time, well, then it doesn't count, you know? Oh, well, I'm just ranting now. So, you know, by the way, if you like this stuff, including my rants, you know, like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. And look around. There's a lot of good stuff on the gun tubers out there. It's the other thing. Gun tubers are probably going to become a thing of the past if the cackling cow wins and the Democrats. You know, we're all Americans who do this. Well, not all of us. You know, there's some overseas. I like Bloke on the Range. He's in Switzerland, and I think he's originally British. But most of the gun tubers are Americans, and most of them are, you know, God-fearing, patriotic. I sure as hell am. Anyway, that's about all I got to say. Happy trails.